What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Phetish. With all the sneakers dropping this year, if you guys are still on track with me, we're still celebrating the 30-year anniversary of the debut of the Air Jordan 7. Today, we're taking an early look at a special edition Air Jordan 7 that pays homage to a fast-rising music genre that you may not have heard of, but after the day, you'll be really familiar. I got a lot to say. Without further ado, let's get into it. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Air Jordan 7 AfroBeats. That's AfroBeats with an S. We're gonna get into why that matters. First impressions of the shoe, I'm not mad at it. I actually like the sneaker. I like the way that it looks, but I'm a realist. This is not gonna be the most popular sneaker, I think, when it drops sometime in October, I believe. But the messaging behind this shoe hopefully will turn a couple of heads and maybe make a couple of people think twice about getting the sneaker. But before I get into the shoe and why AfroBeats is so important, let's talk about the box. Quick message to Jordan brand, if anybody from the brand watches this. This tag says Air Jordan 7 Retro SE. That's special edition. Any special edition that comes out, I feel like it deserves special packaging. The fact that we just got a regular Air Jordan 7 box, like the box actually in my own weird little way ties in with the shoe, because today I want to talk a little bit about not necessarily judging a book by its cover and layers. But before we get into that later, special packaging really would have been fly. Like a little bit of West African print here, a little bit of something having to do with the culture of Afrobeats, Lagos, Nigeria. I don't know, but it is what it is. Regular box on these. Somehow Marcus Jordan can backdoor 418,000 pairs of trophy rooms and still get a special box, but whatever. All right, getting back into the sneaker. First of all, we have to talk about AfroBeats. Now, there's a rich history when it comes to AfroBeats, and we literally could be here easily an hour just to go through all the history of AfroBeats and what it means today. But I'm gonna do my best to try to kind of give you guys a general overview of what this really special music genre is. Way back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, around that time, there was a very popular Nigerian artist named Fela Kuti. Now, you probably are not familiar with Fela Kuti, but Fela Kuti was one of these artists back in the day that developed this sound that was known as Afrobeat, with no S at the end of it. And basically, it was this jazz kind of big band take on politically infused songs that had to do with the government back in Nigeria and over in Africa. He's a legend. If you guys do your Googles on Fela Kuti, he's an absolute legend. And his legacy continued to live on throughout the music of Nigeria, even after his passing in 1997. But like many things do, it evolved. It turned into something more upbeat, more joyous, more fun and exciting, especially as newer, younger artists were starting to get into the scene of what would be known as Afrobeats. One of the earliest iterations of Afrobeats is probably as early as about 2000, when the music really started to grow in popularity. There was a group that was called Master System, and they had a song that was called Premier Gal, I believe is the way that you say that, and it really became popular. As a matter of fact, if you look up Premier Gal by Magic System on YouTube, that video has like over 20 million views or something. The music became extremely popular, not just in Lagos, Nigeria, and the surrounding areas where it kind of originated from, but it really started to have international presence as far as the Nigerian diaspora, as the music and the artists started becoming bigger and bigger. One of the premier Afrobeats artists that really started bridging the gap between what we were doing in hip-hop and R&B and what Afrobeats was doing over in Nigeria was an artist named D'banj. D'banj had a song called Oliver Twist, and if you look up that music video, you may see some very popular, very large superstars in that video that you may or may not have ever seen before or even heard of the song before ever. You may see people like Manny Fresh, Big Sean, maybe Pusha T, or maybe this guy named Kanye West, all in that video. That's when Afrobeats really started becoming an international sensation, and it carried over into London. If you guys know, London is a huge epicenter for African culture and African music. They started doing Afrobeats karaoke's over in London, and the West African culture in London really started to infuse Afrobeats with what they were doing. It was everywhere. But what exactly makes up an Afrobeat song? Well, it's funny because Afrobeats isn't necessarily a style in and of itself, but it's more of a mesh of a bunch of different types of styles. Afrobeats is dancehall, it's soca, it's R&B, it's high life, it's Afrobeat. It's juju, it's palm wine, it's British house music, it's a little EDM. It's all blended into this one incredible genre of music that's really exploded. As a matter of fact, Beyonce, when she did The Lion King, remember she did The Lion King and then she did Black is King after that, and she actually dedicated that to Africa and called it a love letter to Africa. A lot of very popular premier Afrobeats artists were featured on that soundtrack that she did, and you can hear a lot of that style of music and that fast-paced, syncopated music that really feels like the culture and the pulse of Africa. People like Wizkid, you guys may know him from One Dance that he did with Drake, or Tems, or Burna Boy, or lots of other people that are now the premier artists in Afrobeats that are carrying the torch and really making some incredible strides for the culture. That all originated and is encapsulated in the Afrobeats Air Jordan 7. So the fact that Jordan Brand actually decided to make a sneaker dedicated to the culture of West Africa, Lagos, Nigeria, and the Afrobeats music scene is absolutely incredible. All right, we've talked a little bit about what Afrobeats is. Let's take a little deeper look at the sneaker. All right, starting with the upper of the shoe here, you have this vachetta tan that's all around the upper of the shoe here. Now, a lot of people, when they started seeing mock-ups of the shoe, they didn't know exactly what kind of material was going to be used on the upper. Confirmed, we're getting vachetta tan leather upper on this sneaker. Not a bad leather either. It feels pretty nice. It's not tumbled, it's not soft, it's actually stiffer, but I actually like the fact that it's a little stiffer leather here, because similar to the Air Jordan 1 1985 models, the Georgetowns, the neutral gray, stuff like that, this leather actually feels kind of similar to that. It's a little bit stiffer, and to me, it's a little higher quality, which it better be a little higher quality for $210. Now, the upper is not just this vachetta tan leather, but if you look a little bit deeper, you'll notice that there's this embossing around the heel of the shoe, down here by the mud guards, and of course, the Jumpman itself also embossed. Now, a lot of people are just gonna sign this off by saying, oh, it's just some African tribal whatever, like a lot of people like to do, but this is actually geometric art. Now, I've read online that it's supposed to mimic mountains, a geometric art representing a mountainscape, which makes a lot of sense because there are actually a lot of mountains in Nigeria, especially where Afrobeats originated from. So in my mind, it could be something having to do with the fact that those mountaintops over in Nigeria are kind of shown in this geometric way in the upper of the shoe. But you know, I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I'm gonna go with it. So you see that geometric art again in the mudguards of the shoe, and of course wrapping around from the lateral to the medial side of the shoe as well. Very, very nice. Taking the top down look at the shoe here, nothing really different. Same Air Jordan 7 silhouette, same vachetta tan leather, gold on the neoprene tongue, but we gotta talk about the inner booty of the Air Jordan 7. On the top half of the tongue here, and of course on the surrounding booty all around, actually going pretty deep into the booty of the shoe as well, is this black and white West African inspired print. African inspiration all throughout the booty of the shoe. I really like the way that this looks here. The black and white kind of zebra print going against the vachetta tan leather. You have the red Air with the taxi colored Jordan, standard Air Jordan 7 emblem on there. But I also like how you have a little bit of that taxi and a little bit of that dark concord kind of running down that tongue as well. Moving back to the lateral side of the shoe here on the midsole, let's talk about this. Dark concord and taxi hits on the, what I call mountaintops, and no pun intended with the geometric art. But when you move around to the back of the shoe here, this right here is special. Nike Air on the back of these Air Jordan 7s. You do not get the classic pennant design with the 7 or the 9 that we've come to know and love in the Air Jordan 7. This is one of those rare Air Jordan 7s that actually has Nike Air stitched in black on the heel of the shoe. When I first saw that in photos, I was like, okay, that's different. That's kind of fire. We normally don't get Nike Air on the back of an Air Jordan 7, but I like it. You guys can sound it down below. Let me know what you guys think. Now, the pull tab is a little bit different here. Almost looks like a belt or something like that. Now, again, you have perforations on the lateral and medial side, standard with the Air Jordan 7, but normally you don't have these kind of perforations on the pull tab here, but vachetta tan leather pull tab here. Really nice. Again, the leather feels good with the perforations going down it. There's got to be an inspiration for this. I'm not sure, but this handle, this pull tab, it ain't no regular pull tab. So there's that. The outsole of the AfroBeats 7s is giving me Raptor 7s. I'm not gonna lie about that. The colors feel very, very close, very reminiscent to the Raptor 7 outsole. Of course, the colors placed a little bit differently on the AfroBeats, but that's really what it's giving me. So initially I was like, okay, is this just a take on the Raptor 7s? But there's so many different design elements in here. Color blocking is different than the Raptors. I was like, no, I don't think this is an adaptation of the Raptors. I think this is something truly different, but it definitely does give me some of that in the outsole of the shoe. And on the insole of the shoe, black insole with that white jump man on the heel. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the AfroBeats Air Jordan 7. Now, once again, I'm a realist. I know that these probably are not the best looking Air Jordan 7. These are probably, no pun intended, about a 7 out of 10 when it comes to the sneaker overall. But for me, it ratchets up a couple of points when you add in the cultural significance and the history of AfroBeats as a whole, and the fact that Jordan Brand and Nike are actually taking the time to shine a light on Afrobeats culture. It's really, really fire. Afrobeats is literally infused in so many different areas of music. A lot of those songs that people are dancing to on TikTok are Afrobeat songs. Those are the types of songs where you listen to them 1,000 times on TikTok and on Instagram Reels, and you finally find it on YouTube and you comment, this is the song that I've been listening to for the last 6 months. Some of the most popular Afrobeat songs have been out for a year or two before they even get super popular because of social media and the lack thereof in places over like Lagos, Nigeria. So I think it's fire that the brand actually takes the time to reach back and to actually highlight this when it's really starting to explode and expand. Now, the cooler thing about that too is that Nigeria as a whole, Africa as a whole, a lot of times tends to get a bit of a bad rap out here. People tend to think that Nigeria looks like this when Lagos, Nigeria actually looks like that. And in saying that, a lot of people, especially in sneaker culture, especially in society as a whole, tend to kind of judge a book by its cover or by what we've seen by other media outlets and other outlets out here without really doing our research and digging into what makes these places absolutely beautiful. And Nigeria is one of those places that's thriving and it's beautiful right now, not just in the way it looks, but in its rich culture, especially in its musical roots. If you listen to Afrobeats music, this music just makes me feel good. I know if you guys listen to songs like One Dance or Essence, the WizKid song with Thames, or some of the other popular Afrobeats infused songs out here, you can't help but to feel good when you listen to it. It makes you want to dance. So like so many sneakers where the internet just wants to take a look at the sneaker up front and automatically write think pieces about the entire shoe and what we think of it before we even give it a chance to learn the history, the inspiration, or the story behind it, Nigeria is the same way. Afrobeats is also the same way. A lot of people just kind of pass it off or prejudge it before they get a chance to really embrace it and look at it and listen to it. And that's the same thing that I see in the Afrobeats Air Jordan 7. Give it a shot. Look at the geometric art. Look at the detail of the shoe. Look at the quality of the materials. Look at the West African print. When you really look at this sneaker as a whole, when you break it down, yeah, I understand it may not be the best looking to you. I totally respect your opinion, but we can't deny that there's a whole lot of historical significance within this shoe, and I, for one, am here for it. These are dope in my opinion. I'ma rock them proudly, and shout to Slam Jam for allowing me to get these a little bit early. Like I mentioned, these are supposed to drop, I believe, sometime in October. We know that release dates are all over the place right now, so don't quote me on that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this early look, and especially a look at Afrobeats, kind of the voice of millennial Nigeria and London these days in terms of music. And hopefully this video inspired you to do a little bit of Googling and check out YouTube to see what's hot in Afrobeats right now. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But now it's time for you guys to sound off below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of the Afrobeats Air Jordan 7 Special Edition. Are you guys feeling these? What do you guys think about the details? Are you familiar with Afrobeats? Are you a fan of Afrobeats or not? Let me know all those things down in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Air Jordan 7 Afrobeats, and until next time, I'm out.